All right, welcome to this week's market review and preparation with Bill by Trading. Last week was a somewhat busy week. Mostly the fireworks went off with Tesla and Google earnings that were on Wednesday evening. We're going to go over those charts shortly. This week is even heavier. So here are the most anticipated earning releases this week of July 27th. Shout out Earning Whispers. It's really Wednesday. Wednesday is the day we are looking at Microsoft, Meta, Robinhood, ARM, Qualcomm, again, all of the Fortinet, pretty heavy AI build-out names. We have Bloom Energy coming on Tuesday after close. That's pretty important. Visa and then MasterCard is also this week at some point in time, Thursday morning. Those are going to be important for like consumer health and finance information. So we have a lot of important. We have Thursday after close, Apple and Amazon. So it's a heavy week that we have some energy hitters, CVX on Friday, the Exxon before it opens. So we have STX, another memory name, build out, AI build out, Corning right here, optics. Okay, we are going to go over all of these names and kind of do the best we can to prepare, but it makes it hard, especially with the volatility that this market has right now, especially to the downside. These names are, especially on Wednesday and then, Thursday, how do you plan 3 days out with the volatility right now? So it really just depends on where they are when the earnings are occurring. Going to economic data, heavy economic data week as well. We have durable goods in the morning. We had Fed interest rate decision on Wednesday, the press conference at 2:30. So you really need to watch things here. And let me clean this up here. Hang on. This upcoming week. There we go. So Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So very heavy economic week as well, with a very heavy earnings week. So be on your toes. Make sure you are managing risk per usual. All right, let's get into it. The SPY, we are breaking and holding below this uptrend line here, this kind of wedge pattern here, ascending triangle, whatever you want to call it. It's breaking down to the downside. We are now closing a couple days underneath the 50 EMA. We do have the anchor view gap from this prior low, relatively close here. It's 7,300-ish. That is also confluence with a prior support. So I am eyeing this level this week. If that fails, what do? We go level by level, right? This is how we prepare levels of interest where the market showed some sort of interest in the past, and we prepare for that. So next would be 7260 to 7240 area. If not that, we got 7140, etc. So these levels coming back on. The 200 EMA is all the way down here near 7,000. Don't be shocked if we head up down there from close to right now. It's only a 5% pullback. That's nothing crazy. We've seen much more. It just seems really heavy right now because all of the names that right here, SMH, SOX, that made these moves happen. If you're only watching these names or only invested or trading these names, the volatility is wicked on these things. And so it seems like the sky is falling, but really we're only 2.74% away from all-time highs in the general index. It ain't that bad. It's just we continue not to do anything. We are literally at the same spot, nearly the same close as May 11th. We have not been doing anything. Same thing with NDX. Actually, I lied. I'm sorry. NDX is not the same as the SPX. NDX is falling a little bit more out of bed than what the SPX is doing. Last week I was talking about, we might get a potential gap fill. Here we go. We got a gap fill on Friday. Where does it end here? Or where does it go? The next level down I am watching is this 27,300 level. After that, the 200 EMA is at 26,640-ish area. Okay. If we get to, we looking at a 2.8% pullback and then a 5.2% 5.3% pullback-ish from Friday's close. And so, those are other levels. If that breaks, if the 200 breaks, maybe we're getting undercut to the breakout area here, and then we rally. We're a little bit steeper away from all-time highs in the NDX and tech. You want to know why? Right here. This is why. You can't tell me that this is a bullish look. This has potential to be, this right here. I was looking for an undercut and then a rally. It could have been a failed moves comes fast move, but look at the bounce. The bounce is relatively weak, and look where it is at now. It is back below this important support area of 12,150 to 12,100 area. Pretty similar in the SMH, right? Breaking below between this important $570 area below the 50. The next level in the SMH, we have 533. Don't be shocked if that gets tagged. Also, don't be super excited about the futures. They're absolutely ripping right now. They're gapping up on the news that Iran and US are again having ceasefire talks. Listen, how many times do we have to listen to this? It's the same freaking thing. And I don't trust any of it. So it's just noise, right? This is why we look at the charts. This is actual money flow. This is what traders, this is what institutions, investors, this is what people, they're actually putting their money where their mouth is. It's not just the mouth yip-yapping and talking like social media and news headlines. I don't trust any of that. This is what the truth is right here. And this does not look good. I will leave it at that. All right, so focus for this week. Let's start out with earnings. Monday, Monday morning, I'm just going to skip those. We don't have that much. APLD, this is getting hit with CoreWeave, NBIS, IREN, APLD, and CORZ, all those neocloud type names. It's coming into potential support down here. I still think, especially with the 9% down move, like it would make sense for a rest day. However, this was hurt, right? Where it got rejected at the 200 from below. The 21's going down, 8's going down, 5's going down, damage on Friday. It does have earnings on Monday. Oh, it's earnings Monday night. Yes, duh. We're going over that. Sorry. And so I wouldn't be shocked if this chopped around waiting for earnings. If it gaps down, maybe it gaps down to 2050. This is an interesting level down here. Next would be $18 or so. If anything, next you go to the next level. I'm looking right here at this little peak, $17. Then this trough, $13.50-ish. So any gap downs could potentially, if you believe in the long term of AI and neoclouds and things like that, that could be, potential dip buy. It would be broken and fractured at this point. And then you talk about time opportunity and how long it's going to hold. And then NVIDIA also had a $250 billion data center project in Ohio that they just announced for OpenAI. So I think short term, again, the neoclouds market chart-wise, they look weak, and that news, I think, has potential to carry them further down to the downside. We'll see what actually happens. So there's APLD, looks weak. CLS AMKR WHR. I saw that popping up a lot, gapped up, and it did nothing but sell off. So, when you gap up that much into a declining 50 and 21, and you sell off below all of the EMAs, it's, that's not a bullish look. Whirlpool, this is, I guess, important for consumers or so, but it's just chopping around. I don't know what to really expect from this. Honestly, I'm going to move on. PayPal looks actually pretty good. I like this gap up, phase one consolidation, very strong gap up on, I think there's buyout news, right? Something of that nature. Anchor VWAP is holding that. It's getting very tight. It's below this anchor VWAP from what here? This earnings, I'm just going to delete that. It did find price supply, but I don't think it's super important right now. Where is it? Right now, it is at a potential area of supply, which is probably why it is slowed down. But it's staying real tight. It's time correcting. Remember, time correcting markets are stronger than price correcting markets. So we're getting a little bull flag to the 8 EMA, nice bottoming tail. Tuesday morning, I would not hold this. If you enter tomorrow, it is not a good idea to hold stock into binary events such as earnings, because this could easily end up being down here, 47 bucks for whatever reason. It's always most of the time a good idea to cover your risk by playing options into it. Boeing just looks sloppy. Coca-Cola, it's a good company, but it's not super volatile. UPS, kind of wide and loose, sloppy and choppy. GLW, here we go. Talking about optics, AI build out, infrastructure, etc. This looks weak. It is at the 200 EMA. We do have earnings again Tuesday morning. Everything is trending down, right? Phase 4 distribution. Now, I'm sorry, phase 3. And then it looks like it's going into a phase 4 downtrend. Where does it stop? Who knows? But you go level by level. First level, it broke here. Now I'm the 200 at 142. Then I got 135, and then I got 120. And then after that, maybe we see 105, and then 90, $100 or so, and then maybe 95. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. How low it goes, who knows? But it is 46% off of all-time highs. Not the best look. JBlue looks sloppy. Tuesday PM. Again, AI focus, energy, right? We're going to need energy, AI, blah, 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 all that stuff, infrastructure, build out. So Bloom Energy is an FinX love. I can't tell you why this thing is so sloppy, wide, and choppy. It is now at the 200 EMA. It continues to get crushed. Everything's going down. I think you are trying to catch a falling knife at this point. Sure, you might be able to catch a dead cat bounce. I think we are getting a gap fill to 177.54, and then maybe we get a little bounce at the 172 to 168 area. Basically, just a retest here. Don't be surprised if that happens. But overall, this is not, this needs some time to work out, as there's a lot of potential supply above here. STX, another important memory name. This is finding supply. The anchor VWAP from the all-time highs. It's okay. It's chopping around. This undercut and rally of the $100 level, let's just call that, is nice, but it found supply at the prior supply area. So you can see these topping tails here, right? Topping tails, closes, the bodies of the bars, all of those go from 930, 940 to 920. So this area continues to be supply here, and I think it needs to break that in order to go retest high. So earnings will give us some clarity on that. ENPH, again, energy just getting crushed. Visa looks pretty solid, only 5.25% off of all-time highs. Nice supply area here, broke out above it twice, setting a higher low again. And so this looks pretty good. As long as they have nice earnings, it'll probably, has a decent chance of breaking out. Tilray, and we're not even talking about Tilray, Teradyne, and let's move on. SOFI, this is another X darling. Everyone's talking, oh, SOFI, and I'm just here sitting like, hey, it's below the 200 EMA. So it's like, be patient. It's still in this range. It's below the 200 EMA. It continues to get rejected off of here. Just listen, it's a popular name on FinX. FinX is great. You can find great names. Very smart, intelligent people on there. It's absolutely wonderful, but yet at the same time, like, technical analysis also still works. Basic, EMA usage still works too. The long term of this name, sure, that is a different conversation, but for right now, it is still below the 200 EMA. It cannot hold chopping EMAs, right? It's still in a phase 1. If it gets down to 15 bucks, sure, maybe you take a stab at it. Maybe it does an undercut and then a rally, and that really gets it going. There's a lot that can, this Wednesday earnings AM can help figure out. So maybe it blasts off and it, breaks out of this consolidation. And it really gives it some juice. I think we have the potential to get some resolution in direction based off of this earnings coming up. VRT, another energy name, AI name. This is sloppy, choppy mess. 270 is important. Be mindful of the 200 EMA at 250 bucks or so. That has a chance to get hit. Let's see what else here. Procter & Gamble. Let's move on. All right, Microsoft. Microsoft. We're on to Wednesday PM now. Okay. This doesn't, if Google and Tesla was a warning, just heed the warning. All right. I would not hold stock unless you're long, if you're a trader, into binary events, especially on earnings, especially when you see names like Google that absolutely crushed it and Tesla did decent. It crushed on earnings, especially to the downside, right? You're asking for it. And if it gaps up, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I should have bought it, blah, blah, blah. Listen, hindsight 2020. Your number one job is to manage your risk. It's not to be right. It's to make money and manage your risk and to survive. If you do not survive and do not keep your capital, you're done. So just keep that in mind. Inside day, I actually like the short here, especially from this anchor view app. I would take the short on Wednesday. Sorry, on Monday, not on Wednesday. If we get further downside, like if we break Friday's lows, maybe we can get some momentum to break Thursday's lows, and then we can tag 373 or so. We do have a pivot on gap of 372 to 370, but otherwise, there's a potential we have 350. I would not mind a earnings gap down to 350 or even below 350, and then a reclaim of that 350 level. Otherwise, we're looking at 310. 325, 310. Let me mark these levels out. Just look at prior support. Keep it simple. Okay. Look at the levels. Prior support. That's it. Okay. So 325 and about 310. Educated guesses of where it could potentially go on poor earnings and CapEx spend and all that stuff. Meta, it got hit on Google earnings as well, right? This is look at this. This is extremely sloppy. It needs time. It needs time. It needs earnings. I don't know what to say. I don't know what more to say. Better places to be. That's what I'll say. Hood. I was interested. So a couple of weeks ago, I was saying, hey, I'm looking firstly for this pivot on gap, this 97.88 to 96.26 with confluence of the 50. We get a bounce there, but it got rejected at the 20, at the 8, and the declining 5, and this pivot on gap coming back from the fill. So I'm going to delete that, and those are now filled. They are no longer in play. And then my next level was $93. We tagged that $93, bounced from it. Why? It's simple. Right here, it's just a breakout level, right? It's not magic. These are just levels that showed importance in the past. And then also confluence of 200 EMA. You can keep this stuff super simple. Also confluence from the earnings anchor VWAP, all around this 90, 93 area. Okay, we got a little bounce. We'll see if it actually holds. Someone, I think it was Taylor on X. I don't know his handle or her. I don't know, whatever. Interesting. They compared Hood to another name that basically did this, chopped up, ripped, and then sold off. Was it Oracle? I'm gonna try. I think it might have been Oracle. Pretty similar, right? So maybe we get that same. It's not the same business. I don't know. I don't know. It was interesting either way. But I don't know where to go from here. It's sloppy. It needs to get tight. It needs to get tight. All right, moving on. LRCX. Watch this $300 level. That breaks. Watch 262. And then if that breaks, watch 250, 200 EMA with the 242 would be the next. Thursday, let's see, Thursday. Nothing too great. PWR power is interesting, but it looks like it's into the 200 EMA here. VLO, MasterCard too, right? We already talked about Visa, but MasterCard looks not as good as Visa, but it looks like it's trying to turn around, so that's good. VLO is probably going to crush it. It's been very strong. Any gap downs, I like. This is one of my favorite longs for the week, especially if it's gapping down right now. I would like a gap down, sell the 21, undercut the 21, reclaim, set a low for the day in the first 30 minutes on that 30-minute reclaim, 30-minute low, and then the reclaim, undercut and reclaim of the 21 EMA within that first 30 minutes, and then it sets a gap buy. And then, over the next couple of days, we buy up into earnings, and then I would sell out on Wednesday. That is my plan for VLO this week. I think it's a pretty solid one. Will it work? I don't know. We'll find out. But what do? You manage risk. Apple looks solid, breaking out all-time highs. Nice pullback to the 8-ish. Maybe that's a 10 in there somewhere. Maybe even like 15. I don't know. What either way, pull back, and it rips on Friday, a good 3.5%. I've been saying, the market is looking weak. Where is everybody hiding? They're hiding here. Pull safe, right? Amazon looks weak. Expecting CapEx spend. That's the biggest thing right now. CapEx spend. If you want to do the range trade from failed moves, failed breakout here comes fast moves. Opposite end range is target. So obviously this had a pretty strong move down from the failed breakout, the failed retest. It had an 18% move down. Then it bounced and then found supply again at the prior supply area. Now it's to me, what would make most sense, not that it's right, but plan-wise, it could potentially create a lower low and tag the opposite end range at 210. Don't be shocked if it does that. That is a full potential. Roblox, wow, what a round trip. This is trash. RDDT, there's a lot of stuff going around on Reddit, especially on FinX. Hey, Reddit has a data mine of, gold mine of data for AI and training and all that stuff. Yeah, but there's a lot of BS on Reddit too, just to play the devil's advocate there. But either way, it's a nice uptrend line. It's at it right now. It has a nice channel going. Maybe that's a buy spot. It's at the 200. It's below. Like, it's a little sloppy with EMA wise. It's a little wide and loose. Found supply at this gap down. This could just be a huge bear flag. Double top here, maybe quasi triple top. I don't know. It's kind of hard, honestly. It's not clean. RIVN, the heartbreaker. This is just slowly grinding up. Let's see. And then we got some energy on Friday. ExxonMobil. I like this buy too. If we gap down here, that's great, right? Maybe undercut at the 8 in the first 30 minutes and then rally for the rest of the day. We'll see. CCJ looks terrible. mRNA looks terrible. This is, healthcare had its run for a little bit. With all the AI talk and how important it's going to be and whatnot, which is, it's true, but when is it going to play out? When's it going to play out? That's the real question. When is it going to start making money? CVX. Price supply. Are we shocked? Are we shocked? No, you shouldn't be. That's the answer. That's the answer. Cool. That's earnings this week. Let's go over my focus list. My favorite longs. Apple. Why? It's simple. Breaking out all-time highs. Big green bar. You look for a pullback about 50%. I'm looking for 328 or so. I'll set my stop or my alert right there for you. You risk the low. That is a nice, 2% risk, 2% move, and you make your 1R. LNG, very strong. Prior support. If you watched my video last week, this was the area that I was targeting. We are now getting a gap down into this area. I'm looking for a 30-minute opening range. Looking for a pullback maybe to 21 here. I would not mind that at all, and especially in a strong name. And to set a higher low versus this low here, maybe even a 254 buy would not be bad either. And you risk a low of the day. LMT ripped off of earnings. Phase 1 consolidation now looks like we could have a potential phase 2 uptrend starting. Where did it find supply? Close to, not exactly, but close to $600 or so. Filled this pivot on gap and found supply there. This is why I keep these things in my chart. Blew through that one. So this looks nice. I would not mind a pullback. I don't know if I wanted to round trip it. Maybe if it was a quick move and got bought up to 540 on the retest, that'd be kind of hard. Ideally, I'd like for it to chop sideways and let the EMAs catch up and do a little time correction. GE, this has been tough, but it does look pretty decent. Holding the 50 EMA, holding the breakout area. It is, it has a little short-term downtrend line, but it looks like it's trying to break it and hold it. We'll see. We have earnings out of the way, so that looks pretty decent. Like it wants to turn around. RTX looks great. 1% away from all-time highs, so hit all-time highs on Friday, basically. This is an all-time high close. It was also a all-time high close on Friday. Strong name. Earnings is out of the way. Very nice earnings. I'm going to put an anchor view up on the earnings, actually. And then you can kind of monitor that. Now, these guys that have had the strong earnings, they're a little extended. Short term, I would not go chasing. I'm not personally chasing these at all. XOM, I like the dip buy on this. Just be mindful. We got earnings. CVX, I like the dip buy, the gap down buy. VLO, I love the gap down buy in this. I'm going to set an alert at 288 here. I'm also going to set it at 285. I'll be watching that tomorrow morning. MPC, love the gap down look. We'll be watching 290, simple, 21 EMA, gap down. It'll be a decent percentage away from all-time highs at that point. You're going to be looking for shorts to cover. At that, they provide the first bid. DELL, I don't trust the whole tech trade right now, but if there is a name to trade, if we do get some more juice than over this overnight bounce, DELL is one to watch. This is called relative strength. When all of the memory and chips and Micron and all the optics are selling off, we'll go over those very shortly, and this is just chopping. This is relative strength. You want to look for stuff like this, especially when tech is getting wrecked. This looks good. HPE looks also pretty decent. Continues to chop around. This 50, let's just call it $50 area, continues to be that neckline, like supply line here. Kind of a reverse head and shoulders. This shoulder is technically lower than the left side here, so that's not a true technical one by definition, but whatever. It's not, life isn't perfect. Interesting longs. NVIDIA, AVGO, these necklines here. MDB is a support play. CrowdStrike is a support play. Maybe we get it a little bit lower to the 50 EMA, around 175. I'm going to put the alert there. Fortinet, FTNT, breakout area, 150. But overall, cybersecurity was looking pretty weak. ANET, this is the connectivity, the optics play. It's a little sloppy, but it's interesting at least. It's holding well. It looks okay. EQT, earnings play. It's hitting the 200 EMA from below. So I'm looking for a time correction, price correction in this. So it looks interesting like it's setting up. Favorite shorts, ALAB. This is connectivity round. Failed at the bear flag to the 50 EMA. Let me draw it out for you so it's easy to see. Okay. Bear flag right there. Downtrend line. Broke. Came to retest this breakdown area. And what did it do? It got smacked 10, almost 11% on Friday. Where could this go? There's not much room. Sorry, there's not much support. There's a lot of room. I don't know, maybe we're looking at 250, then even 230. Look at all these bars here. There's somewhere in here you'll probably find support. I'm going to eye 250. Nice, just easy round number. And then if not, 200. So I like the gap up right now. Set a 30-minute eye. And then look for the breakdown. This looks like it's going to continue down. Same thing with CoreWeave. Okay, I did not hold my shorts. I had nice shorts on from my entries on Thursday to Friday. I'll do a video on those. And this looks like it's in an interesting area. Last week, if you watched my video, I said, hey, they're very extended to the downside. They're coming into support. Don't be surprised if we get a bounce this week. The bounce happened. I missed the bounce. But what I was prepared for was a short, especially at the 21 EMA. So I did that, and I caught a nice short on Friday. And so this has a potential to break even lower, especially with that news with NVIDIA. Same thing with NBIS. You all get excited about these. They're very strong rips. Don't get me wrong, right? 40%. I'm pretty sure this happened in like 4 days, 5 days. From the, let's just do this, low here to high here. Yeah, 40% in 4 days. Yeah, that's a freaking rip, right? It's good to get excited about that stuff, especially if you caught it. Congratulations. However, this is a high beta stock. This thing freaking moves. So just because it moves 40%, it does not mean it's going to freaking hold it. Okay. So long term, sure. But this name it's looking a little dicey. Now you can make the argument. This is me trying to make an argument here. Downtrend line, broke it. Maybe it's going to be a retest. Maybe it retests to 165 and holds. Maybe it gets down to 200 EMA at 150. If not, then I'm looking at 134. Okay, it's looking a little rough. And I think with the OpenAI NVIDIA deal for the data center in Ohio is short-term bearish for these guys, because it takes, it can be seemingly taking business away from them. So, because they'll have their own compute and data center just strictly for OpenAI. IREN, this looks like it could potentially break even lower. We'll see how low it goes. CRDO, neckline, watching for the break. It's below the anchor VWAP even from this bounce. So the average participant since this, so average participant from Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, are all underwater. Everyone from this bounce, the average participant from this bounce is now underwater. CIEN looks weak. Looks like it's going to retest the 200 again. Same thing with CORH, okay? COHR, sorry. LITE, weak. GLW, weak. ENTG, weak. SMR, love the weakness here. Looking like, it rejected 21, got smoked on Friday. Ideally, we get a nice little gap up for an entry and then a potential short for continuation. I'm looking at this 740 again, retest. If this breaks even lower, heck, maybe we'll get to 690 and then 657 and then 550, who knows? OKLO also looks weak. So nuclear names, right? Energy, again, look weak. Right here, I'm looking for 3580 next. Then we got a gap fill here to 3250. NXE, weak. FSLR, looks like it's heading to 187, weak. NXT, if it breaks this low, where could it go? Maybe 94, otherwise 84, weak. MP broke this support, jeez. And looks like it's heading to 3920. It does have this huge gap fill here. Gap fill is about to 3186. So a lot of potential supply up above here. Things can really get rolling to the downside. I actually really like that look. I'm gonna set an alert here. I need like gap up to 50% or so. Look for a high to risk against. Rocket Lab, space theme, weak. ASTS, weak. PL, I'm looking for a break of this low. Gap up in here. There's the break of the low. Weak. Lunar, weak. Looks like it's going to 10 bucks. Alert set. MSTR, I missed my freaking short. That's fine. I'm looking for a bounce. All right, looking for a bounce. Heck, if we get a bounce overnight, sure. I'm looking for a short. PLTR looks interesting. It needs to hold this 120. Otherwise, the overall, I've been saying this important 120, 122 area needs to hold. This could have been an undercut and oopsies, undercut and rally. Didn't really rally very strong, just chopped around, and now it's finding more supply. Undecided. Tesla, long term, sure. I'd start nibbling at it, whatever. Not financial advice, but that's what I'm doing. Google, long term, strong business, ain't going nowhere. Most likely, you never know, I guess. SPCX, successful rocket launch and gapping down though, 113 bucks overnight. So I would think the rocket successful launch would, give this some juice. Inside day though on Friday. So looking for something to give it here. Hood, I already talked about Hood. All right, that is a prep. Sorry, a little long in the tooth there. A lot of names to go over. Hopefully that is valuable for you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Comment below, like, subscribe. Go watch my trade review videos. Watch my FinX videos. I try and stay on top of all that stuff. I try to provide you guys valuable content to waste your time. I'm not look at me, I'm making a $25,000 in a day in 5 minutes on opening range breaks. Most of that stuff is not real. So I try to keep it real as I can with you. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. Appreciate your time. I'll catch you next week. Actually, no, I lied. I'm sorry. I will not be here next week. I will have a video out the following week. So trade well, manage your risk, do your homework, and I'll catch you in a couple weeks. Bye.